Talk about a crusher. Yes! Oh!
Are you kidding me?
And gone!
Welcome back to Squared Sports Podcast. Almost this podcast land Frank. We're now episode 72, everybody. So we're 72 episodes through, we get an action-packed episode planned for you. Baseball is back. MLB, no more lockout. MLB season will be starting off on April 7th. We already got spring training going on. NFL offseason in full effect. DeShaun Watson to the Browns. We're going to discuss Tom Brady going back to the Buccaneers. Devontae Adams to the Raiders. Aaron Rodgers back to the Packers. So much more. Also, Sweet 16 is set in college basketball. Stay tuned for this action-packed episode number 72. Let's hop into it. Let's start for episode 72, how we always do with our headlines in the NFL. Tom Brady is coming back to Tampa Bay, everybody. Now, this is an easy division for him to win. Are they going to beat the Saints twice a year? I know Tom Brady has done terribly against the Saints in at least regular season. I think he's 0-4 against Saints in the regular season this time as Tampa Bay quarterback. But I think they get 2 wins against them this year. I think the Falcons, without Calvin Ridley, without Matt Ryan, with Marcus Mariota as the quarterback. I mean, you're looking at 5 days ago, they could be a Super Bowl contender with DeShaun Watson. Like they said, they could have maybe got Leonard Fournette, AJ Green, all these stars. But now, no. I don't know what. I mean, maybe DeShaun Watson should have gone to the Falcons, but Tom Brady, that's an easy division for him to win. Panthers rebuilding. That's an easy division, in my opinion, for Tom Brady to win. This NFC is NFC is decreasing at the second. Aaron Rodgers, pretty much the only other good quarterback in the NFC, you could say, is Matt Stafford, won the Super Bowl. But a lot of stuff going on in the AFC and NFC right now. The quarterback carousel. Deshaun Watson now in the AFC. Russell Wilson now in the AFC with the Broncos. We're talking more about that later, the Deshaun Watson and the Russell Wilson deals. But Tom Brady is back in Tampa Bay. Russell Wilson going over to the Denver Broncos, everybody. Grade the deal in the comment section. I'm going to talk about the Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson deals later, but those were 2 amazing deals. I mean, just crazy. I mean, is this the most blockbuster NFL offseason ever? At least quarterbacks-wise might be, because Tom Brady coming out of retirement, Russell Wilson going over to the Broncos, Deshaun Watson going over to the Browns. I mean, those are 2 of the biggest quarterback trades of all time, you could say. Matt Ryan going over to the Colts. Does this make the Colts a Super Bowl contender? I think so. I know it's going to be a stacked AFC division, but they're playing a bad division. They're playing the AFC South, where Titans, they can get a game up on them this year. They're going to probably sweep Texans and the Jaguars. So I think this is, Matt Ryan's going to be their best quarterback since Andrew Luck. He's better than Phillip Rivers. Don't deny that. He's better than Jacoby Brissett. He's better than Carson Wentz, obviously. Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. He puts up stats. Now there's rumors that they might get Julio Jones. That's an interesting thing to look out there for. But let's move to the MLB, where we have a bunch of news. This is our first episode talking about baseball since the trade deadline has been back, and there has been so much news in the MLB free agency-wise. Chris Bassett going over to the Mets. I mean, that's going to be a stacked rotation for the Mets this year, pitching staff. Jacob deGrom had a great debut in spring training today, and Chris Bryant signed with the Rockies. Everybody, grade that deal in the comment section. It's an interesting deal, in my opinion, Chris Bryant going to the Rockies. The Rockies, a rebuilding team. They had Nolan Arenado at third base. Now they have Chris Bryant at third base, and it's an interesting deal, in my opinion, because, like I said, rebuilding team, but he's getting a huge deal. I think it's 7 years, $160 million. You maybe could got a deal like that from the Mets and played center field for them. But we're going to talk about maybe a little bit like that later. But Chris Bryant going over to the Colorado Rockies. Trevor Story going over to the Boston Red Sox. So many rumors early in free agency before the lockout that he could go to the Rangers. But then the Rangers picked up Marcus Semien. Then the Rangers picked up Corey Seager, who are obviously better. Trevor Story, in my opinion. Trevor Story had a good season last year, but the Rockies just let him walk here. But I know they're probably going to get a first-round pick. First-round tenders. They placed that on Trevor Story, and that's why they didn't trade him at the trade deadline. But a lot of stuff going on with Trevor Story right now. Going over to Boston Red Sox. More shortstop news. Carlos Correa going over to the Minnesota Twins. Twins are making moves there, but they traded their first-round pick, Chase Buddy, over to the Reds to get Sonny Gray. Now they got Carlos Correa. And they're coming to win, Minnesota Twins. That's an interesting move, Carlos Correa, maybe trying to get away from the Astros. I mean, every single Astro on that 2019 team, that cheated 2017 team, that whenever they hit free agency, they left and they dipped. George Springer did it. Now Carlos Correa is doing it. I mean, just a lot of stuff going with the Astros. But Carlos Correa going over to the Minnesota Twins, everybody. Matt Chapman going over to the Toronto Blue Jays. That's a good deal for both teams, in my opinion. Kevin Gausman, obviously, on the Blue Jays. This is going to be a good Blue Jays team, in my opinion. You know, they lost Marcus Semien, but then they pick up Matt Chapman, who you could argue is better than Marcus Semien. This is a good deal for both teams, in my opinion. But Matt Chapman going over to the Toronto Blue Jays. That's about it for the headlines this week. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Now it's time for my weekly favorite, everybody. You know what it's going to be. It's going to be March Madness, and it's going to be St. Peter's there by Doug Edder, Shaheen Holloway. What a team he's put together from New Jersey. I saw a thing that John Calipari's salary for this season is triple the amount of St. Pierre's basketball budget. But St. Pierre's defeats Oscar Tshiebwe, Player of the Year. He defeats future first-round pick Ty Washington Jr. and he defeats Hall of Fame coach John Calipari. That's insane to see right there. Shaheen Holloway should probably get that Seton Hall job when their season ends. Probably going to end the Sweet 16. We're going to pick that game coming up in college basketball March Madness, but in the Sweet 16. But Doug Edder, great player for St. Pierre's. That was the best thing I saw this week. 15 upsetting it too. That was bigger than Oral Roberts upset in my opinion. Just what a game that was to see. Oral Roberts obviously beating Ohio State last year. You got some stars transferring from that team. Kevin O'Banner on Texas Tech now. But this I mean, no 2 seed safe ever in the NCAA tournament. You could say now 1 seed's always going to be safe. 1 seeds are always going to crush 16 seeds. I know Gonzaga was struggling a little bit in the first half against Georgia State, but then they blew them out of the water in the second half. But Kentucky, St. Pierre's wouldn't go away against Kentucky. I thought Kentucky would just blow them out in the second half. They didn't. Spread was minus 18, plus 18 win for St. Pierre's. What a game that was. That's my weekly favorite this week. St. Pierre's, Doug Edder, Shaheen Holloway. What a coach. What a program. St. Pierre's probably going to get some program renovations after this season. St. Pierre's, a great basketball team this season. Did you expect this? I don't think anybody did. Leave your answer in the comment section. That's about for my weekly favorite this week. Say it with me. It's the season of baseball, everybody. We got top 5 right here. And now it's the top 5 teams in the MLB heading into the season. Let me say this right here. MLB is the toughest sport to predict because you can pick a team to make the World Series in the NL and they can end up being last now. Some people, last year were taking the Rockies or 2 years ago to make the World Series and they ended up being one of the worst teams. People always pick the Mets just because they're stacked. I'm going to have the Mets in my top 5 right here. But let's hop into it. My top 5 teams in the MLB. Number 5. The Los Angeles Angels, or should I say the Anaheim Angels. Noah Syndergaard, who they signed in the offseason. They need pitching. Now they show Shohei Ohtani and Noah Syndergaard. That's a great duo right there. They got Mike Trout, the best player maybe of all time in baseball right now, of course. And this is going to be a stacked team. I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs finally this year, where they're in the same division as the Athletics, who are decreasing right now without Bob Melvin. And they're in the same division as the Astros, decreasing a little bit right now after making the World Series last year. But I got the Angels as the 5th best team in the MLB. Let's go for number 4. The Chicago White Sox, everybody. I was so high on the White Sox last year. Tim Anderson, your mean Mercedes. Jose Abreu, rating MVP. Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, you name it. They were a great team last year. They had some great pitchers. Dallas Keuchel, that was a great team last year. The Chicago White Sox. But they're more experienced this year. Eloy Jimenez, more experienced. They're going to get a full season out of Luis Robert. Tim Anderson's just going to improve. Jose Abreu is going to play better. I don't even know if your mean Mercedes is on the White Sox anymore. But the White Sox, in my opinion, are the 4th best team. That would be one of the most well-rounded rosters in baseball. I got the Chicago White Sox as the 4th best team in MLB. Number 3, my New York Mets. Yes, New York Mets, 3rd best team in MLB. Every year I pick the Mets in my top 5, but this year they finally have every single piece of the puzzle. They have Max Scherzer, one of the best pitchers in baseball. I think 4 of the 5 last Cy Youngs have been won by either Max Scherzer or Jacob deGrom. That's what I see right there. Jacob deGrom won back-to-back Cy Youngs, and Max Scherzer won back-to-back Cy Youngs almost simultaneously. That was amazing to see right there. Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom, 2 of the arguably best pitchers in baseball, both in the same rotation now. Add an all-star Taijuan Walker in there. This can be a great team. Letting Mark Stroman walk wasn't a bad decision. Now you got Chris Bass mixed in there. He's an all-star caliber player. It's a really, really good team, in my opinion, for the Mets. Those are 3 guaranteed wins, maybe even 4 in that rotation right there. That's a great team. This is a great team, in my opinion. My New York Mets are the 3rd best team in baseball. Number 2, the Boston Red Sox. Alex Verdugo. It's a crazy thing about 2 years ago, they were the 4th worst team in baseball, and they had a top 4 pick. And they took Marcelo Meyer, who maybe got to the bigs this year, but now they got Alex Verdugo. They got some great pitching pieces. They just got Trevor Story. This is a really, really good team, in my opinion. I got the Boston Red Sox at number 2. Now, number 1, I don't have the reigning champs. I hear that, Atlanta Braves. I don't. Even though they got Matt Olson, they left very free walk. I don't have the reigning champs. I hear. My number 1 pick in baseball, maybe of all time. This could be. I'm saying could be, not it will be. This could be the greatest lineup of all time. Yeah, Cody Bellinger. One of the best hitters the past 5 years, won 2 MVPs in the past 5 years, batting at the 7th spot right now. You'd say Chris Taylor, one of the best utility men in baseball. Freddie Freeman mixed in there. Mookie Betts, one of the best players in baseball. This is a stacked team, in my opinion. One of the best teams in baseball. The best team in baseball. Number 1 team in baseball going in to 2022 season is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree with my top 5? If you don't, leave your top 5 in the comment section. We just saw two of the biggest blockbuster trades in NFL history, and they're both by quarterbacks. They're both 4 quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson going over to the Browns when it seemed like the Browns were out of the running, and he was a clear-cut favorite for the Falcons. Russell Wilson going over to the Broncos. That was just a shocker. The day of Aaron Rodgers signing, everything like that. That was just great to see right there. Russell Wilson going over to the Broncos. But who won that deal? Was it the Seahawks or was it Denver Broncos? I'm going to go out and say the Denver Broncos. Now, I don't think the Denver Broncos make the Super Bowl next year. I don't think they make the conference championship next year. They may not even make the divisional round next year. I think they maybe finish 3rd or 4th in that division because that's a really, really good division. Now, obviously, Kansas City's going to finish 1. I'm going to argue that Las Vegas finishes number 2 with Devontae Adams going to be the best, biggest threat Derek Carr's had ever. Maybe in this whole entire football career. Yeah, Max Crosby coming off the edge. And this Chandler Jones coming off the other edge. This is going to be a really, really good team next year. I think this is the clear-cut second-best team in that division. Las Vegas Raiders, second-best team in that division. And it's a toss-up between Los Angeles Chargers and Denver Broncos. I might even say Chargers. This is going to be a really rough year for the Broncos, in my opinion. I mean, one of these teams in the division is going to slip up. You're not getting all 4 teams in the playoffs from that division. If all of them go 11-7, 10-7, they're not making that playoffs. Okay, you're not getting to the playoffs as a 10-17. I don't think Denver Broncos do. But I still do think Denver Broncos won this deal. I mean, only had to give up 2 first-round picks. Browns had to give up 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson, which also is a good deal because Browns needed a franchise quarterback. Okay, Baker Mayfield, they thought he was their Cleveland savior, everything like that. They thought Johnny Manziel was their savior. They thought Tim Couch was their savior. How about let's not draft a guy who's never played a game in the NFL? How about we get a guy who's proven to be an MVP caliber player, who's proven to make the Pro Bowl almost every year of his NFL career? Let's take on him. Give up 3 first-round picks. It's worth it, everybody. This is a great deal. You got Myles Garrett now. Myles Garrett's re-upped, everything like that for the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson, top 10 quarterback in the NFL, top 5, you could argue. This is a very, very good team, in my opinion. Getting $230 million. Is he worth it? Leave it in the comment section. But I think the Browns won this deal against the Texans. Texans had to get rid of him, and they got a lot of draft compensation for that, got a lot of draft capital. And the Seahawks had to move Russell Wilson. But I think they could have gone more for that deal, in my opinion. I think Broncos definitely didn't give as much as they should have. I think Seahawks maybe got a little bit robbed there. Texans, Browns is a little bit more fair deal, in my opinion. That's my thoughts on the Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson trades. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Now, didn't know by this week's Didn't Know, it's a go. Didn't know the great Bambino, Babe Ruth, all-time great hitter, 344 average as a hitter, one of the greatest of all time, but as a pinch hitter, 13 of 67, 167 average. Now, that's not great, everybody. That's one of the worst averages ever. But if you're pinch hitting, maybe Babe Ruth didn't like hitting on off days. That's probably the case right there, given his reputation. But didn't know, Babe Ruth, all-time great hitter, terrible pinch hitter. Didn't know that? Leave it down in the comment section. That's about for Didn't Know this week. Now, this is time for our segment, March Madness Mayhem. And there's been so much chaos so far in that NCAA tournament. Like I said, St. Peter's knocking out Kentucky in the first round. Iowa, who a bunch of people had making the Final Four, losing to Richmond in the first round. I mean, Fran McCaffrey, the most overrated coach in college basketball. Maybe you could say him or John Calipari. That's a toss-up right there. But let's hop into top 5 players so far of the NCAA tournament. So players remaining. So I'm talking about teams remaining. So I'm talking about Michigan, Miami, Iowa State, Kansas, all these teams. Let's hop into it. Number 5, I got Charlie Moore of Miami. His 6th year in college basketball, his 4th school, landing at Miami, making the Sweet 16. Won that game for them. USC closed out the game for them there. Beat Auburn. What a game that was. He's a great leader, Charlie Moore. 5th best player left so far in the NCAA tournament, Charlie Moore. Number 4, Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey at Purdue. It was 74-71. Like 30 seconds left in that Texas game. Hits a step back 3 dagger to end Texas season. Chris Beard, like I said, never ever lose in the first round. He did. He won that game in the first round. But then he loses in the second round to Purdue, which, wasn't that pick right there. But Purdue advancing over to Sweet 16, which I did have. I have Jaden Ivey. It's going to be a top 5 pick when it comes June in the NBA draft. Jaden Ivey, 4th best player so far left in the NCAA basketball tournament. I got Jaden Ivey as the 4th best player in the NCAA tournament. Number 3, Tyrese Hunter of Iowa State. So far, his play has been outstanding. If you're talking about players left in the tournament, you can put Chet Holmgren out number 1, who's going to be an NBA prospect. But how they've played so far in the tournament, I got Tyrese Hunter at number 3. But Tyrese Hunter hit the dagger logo shot against LSU. Had a great game against Wisconsin to beat them. In Wisconsin, to beat Wisconsin. Wisconsin 3 seed. That's wild to see right there. 11 seed and 10 seed playing the Sweet 16. That's just great madness right there to see. But I got Tyrese Hunter as the 3rd best player left so far in the tournament. Number 2, my guy, my man, Hunter Dickinson of Michigan, the best center in the country, you could say. Hunter Dickinson has gotten off for Michigan so far, had 20 points in that first round against Colorado State, and dominated John Fulkerson, dominated Tennessee in that second round 32. I had Michigan making the Sweet 16. They did, everybody. People said, no. Michigan's going to get smoked by Tennessee. They're going to get steamrolled by Tennessee. No. I have my Michigan Wolverines. Eli Brooks, fifth-year senior. Hunter Dickinson, sophomore. Making the Sweet 16. Hunter Dickinson, second best player so far of the NCAA tournament. And number one, power forward of Gonzaga. Had one of the best tournaments last year. And probably would have won most of that same player of the tournament last year if they won NCAA tournament last year, lost in the championship. But I got Drew Timme of Gonzaga, number one. Drew Timme dropped 32 points. That first game dropped 25 against Memphis. Almost single-handedly brought them back in that Memphis game. Drew Timme has played outstanding so far in this tournament from March few for Gonzaga. It turns up when it's tournament time. Turns up when it's March. That's Drew Timme. Those are my top 5 players of the NCAA tournament so far. Now, let's hop into my picks for the Sweet 16. Now, I got Michigan versus Villanova, the first matchup of the Sweet 16. Now, this is a bit of a funny coincidence right here. The last time Michigan and Villanova played in that NCAA tournament, it was in San Antonio, and it was in the national championship game. Now, this game's in San Antonio. It's in the national championship game. Only 2 players from those teams were Eli Brooks, starting shooting guard for Michigan, and Colin Gillespie, starting point guard for Villanova. But I got my Michigan Wolverines beating number 2 team Villanova. I think Hunter Dickinson has another great game right here. I think Eli Brooks plays well in this game. I got my Michigan Wolverines winning almost handily. I got my Michigan Wolverines winning 78-64 over Villanova Wildcats. I got Michigan into the Elite Eight. Now, Gonzaga versus Arkansas. This is going to be a good game. J.D. Note, one of the best guards in the country. But then Gonzaga, Chet Holmgren, Drew Timme. Too much for Gonzaga to handle. Watch out for Andrew Nembhard in this game. I got Gonzaga advancing to the Elite Eight. When I had them playing Duke, I have Duke beating Texas Tech. Now, a lot of people had the Sweet 16 matchup with Duke, Texas Tech. But a lot of people were taking Texas Tech because that good defense. I think A.J. Griffin. I think Mark Williams. I think if A.J. Griffin's healthy, I think Duke wins this game. I think he is. This can be a good game for Duke. Paolo Banchero, one of the best players in the country, could be the number 1 overall draft pick when it's all said and done. So I got Duke in the Elite Eight where they will play Gonzaga. We're going to pick that game next week's episode where, that'll just be a fun game. Now, Houston, Arizona. Houston, one of the best defenses in the country, beat Illinois, which I did not expect to happen. And we got Arizona, who's barely survived against not ACTCU. So I have Arizona winning this match against Houston. Very, very, very close. Team's pretty close. Geography-wise, everything like that. But this is going to be a good matchup, in my opinion. I got Arizona winning 71-67 over Houston Cougars. I got Houston not making it to the Elite Eight this year. Houston made the Final Four last year. I have them losing in the Sweet 16 this year. Give me Arizona advancing over to the Elite Eight. St. Peter's, Purdue. Oh, St. Peter's. Shaheen Holloway, Doug Edert. I have you guys losing to Purdue. I think Purdue wins this squad pretty big. I'll go 84-67. Give me Jaden Ivey, Travion Williams, Zach Edey, one of the best centers in the country. Purdue Boilermakers rolling over St. Peter's. Give me Purdue into the Elite Eight. North Carolina, UCLA. Now, this was a schedule map that was supposed to happen in Las Vegas earlier in the season, but it didn't. COVID restrictions for UCLA canceled that game. UCLA struggled a little bit in the first round against Akron, but they steamrolled St. Mary's in that second round. Jaime Hawkins did come down with injury in that game, though. That's the thing to watch out for right there. Now, Johnny Juzing's biggest strength is nobody can counter him, but Brady Mack can counter him. That was one of the best tournament games of all time, you could say. Carolina Baylor, a great comeback, overtime, everything like that. But Armando Bacot, Brady Mack, too much for UCLA to handle. I have North Carolina's Elite Eight. I had North Carolina losing the Sweet 16 originally in my bracket to UCLA, but I have them making the Elite Eight now over UCLA. Providence, Kansas, my national championship pick. Kansas makes it over to the Elite Eight. Iowa State, Miami. This is an interesting Sweet 16 matchup. One of the worst seeding Sweet 16 matchups you could say. It's 10 versus an 11 seed. It's a little bit interesting thing right there. But I got Iowa State beating Miami in this one. Miami, a good team, but I got Iowa State. TJ Otzelberger in his first season as the Iowa State head coach coming over from South Dakota State. It's a really good match, in my opinion. This is going to be a fun matchup. Jalen Rega, good coach from Miami. He's been there for years. Charlie Morris, red ends here. Tyrese Hunter, maybe it's another dagger in this game. But I got Iowa State advancing over to the Elite Eight. That's about my picks in Sweet 16. That's about from March Madness Mayhem. We'll be back here next week when the Final Four is set. So that time of year, but it's mock draft season, NFL draft, very short away. At the end of April, almost, and coming up in a month there, but that's going to be an amazing event, one of the best events of the year, NFL draft. Top 3 events of the year, you could say. NFL draft, March Madness, NBA draft. Top events going on right now. March Madness coming up. March Madness going on right now. Then you got the NFL draft coming up in the month. NBA draft going on in June. But this is going to be a great draft, in my opinion. This is one of the weirdest drafts of all time, you could say. Last year, you knew who the top 3 picks were going to be. At least you had a relative idea. This year, it's all over the place. It's going to be Malik Willis, number 1. Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? Is Malik Willis going to go number 2? Is Trayvon Walker going to be the number 1 overall pick? Let's up. Here's my top 5 picks for the NFL for my mock draft. My mock draft, top 5 picks. Let's hop into it. Number 1, Jacksonville Jaguars. They don't need an offensive line since they just signed Brandon Scherf in free agency. So I got Aiden Hutchinson, my Michigan Wolverines, being the number 1 overall draft pick. As a Michigan Wolverine fan, as the biggest Michigan Wolverine fan in the world, this will make me so happy seeing Hutchinson go number 1 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he fits Doug Pearson's defensive scheme. This is a good team. This could be a good team in my opinion next year. Jaguars. They got Christian Kirk in free agency. Maybe lay overpay for him a little bit. This could be a borderline 7-8 win team next year. Trevor Lawrence shows up and plays well. But I got Aiden Hutchinson as the number 1 player in this draft. Aiden Hutchinson going number 1 overall to Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 2, the Lions. Who do they take? Do they take Malik Willis? I don't think they take Malik Willis right here. They had number 32 pick in the draft. If he's still available then you probably take him. But next year is going to be an all-time quarterback draft class. You got Bryce Young coming in. You got C.J. Stroud coming in. DJ Wongale coming in. That's going to be a great class. Maybe wait till next year to take quarterback. Maybe roll out with Jared Goff again. I got Kayvon Thibodeau going number 2 overall to the Detroit Lions. Freak athlete. Maybe the best overall player in this draft. I got Kayvon Thibodeau, one of the most talented players in this draft, going number 2 overall to the Detroit Lions. Number 3, the Houston Texans. Lovie Smith is an interesting matchup right here, in my opinion. But I got Trayvon Walker going from Georgia to the Houston Texans. I was thinking about maybe taking Kyle Hamilton here because, Lovie Smith came from Illinois, likes his college football players a little bit more. He likes his East Coast college football players, but I think he goes down to the South, picks up Trayvon Walker. A little bit of an unfamiliar prospect here. A lot of people are very high on Trayvon Walker now. Defensive edge, Trayvon Walker going number 3 overall to Houston Texans. Now, number 4, New York Jets. I think New York Jets take safety from Notre Dame, like I just said. Kyle Hamilton at number 4 overall. Robert Saleh likes his safeties. I don't think they take Sauce Gardner here. I don't think they take Drake London here, who a lot of people haven't taken. That'd just be, outrageous. They have number 10 overall pick in this draft. You don't take a wide receiver at number 4 if you have a pick at number 10. They get either Garrett Wilson or Drake London there. But I got Kyle Hamilton going number 4 overall to New York Jets. Now, the New York Giants, who do they take? I got Ike Ekwonu going over to my New York Giants. Ike Ekwonu, whatever you want to call him. New York Giants, a very, very good team they could be next year with these additions. Joe Schoen has put together a great roster. Don't mess up Joe Schoen. Maybe the best overall player in this draft. Maybe the best overall offensive line in this draft. I have him ranked over Evan Neal. Ike Ekwonu ranked over Evan Neal. You could say, maybe he could be number 1 overall pick, or he could be number 5. I got New York Giants taking Ike Ekwonu at number 5 overall pick. That's about for my mock draft this week. That's about for Sports Scouting for this week. Stay tuned for that NFL draft coming up in the month. We're going to do some more mock drafts rolling out in the next couple episodes. Stay tuned. Now, the best for last at the buzzer. This week's at the buzzer is why I think the Brooklyn Nets could win the East if Kevin Durant chooses to want to win the East. Last year, on the line, everything like that, he could have taken over in overtime. He could have just taken over when James Harden, Kyrie Irving got hurt, but no, he didn't. That's why they didn't make the conference finals last year. That's why they didn't make the finals last year. That would be interesting to see. But Brooklyn Nets, better team this year, in my opinion. You could say Patty Mills, one of the best three-point shooters this season. Seth Curry, one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. Kevin Durant, great player. They go on weird stretches, that team. They played Jazz the other night. Kevin Durant went on a 14-0 run by himself, but then they kind of slip a little bit. They give it open threes to Jordan Clarkson, Donovan Mitchell. Not the best defensive team, but they can get Ben Simmons back for the playoffs. So they get into a 7-game series, Eastern Conference Finals against the Philadelphia 76ers. And it's Game 7 in Philadelphia. Theoretically, Kyrie Irving could play in that game. That's wild to see right there. Kyrie Irving, a very, very good player, dropped 60-41 in the first half. He had some magic a couple of weeks ago. What a game that was. Kyrie Irving, one of the most talented players in the NBA, but we're being robbed of seeing him, and that's Kyrie Irving's fault, in my opinion. But a lot of stuff going on in the air now. That's why I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to win the East. They might not even be a play-in team. That'd be crazy to see right there, but probably have to play in the play-in. Might have to play in Miami Heat. That's a very, very winnable matchup, in my opinion, Game 7 series. That'd be a terrible matchup for the Miami Heat, in my opinion. But that's my at the buzzer this week. That's my hot take. Well, I think the Brooklyn Nets will win these. Do you think the Brooklyn Nets win these? I think the Boston Celtics win these. They definitely could. That'd be awesome to see right there. But leave your thoughts in the comment section. That's about for At the Buzzer this week. Now, question to everybody. This week's question is, who do you think any double-digit seed will make the Final Four this year? Now, we got St. Peter's, 15 seeds still left in the tournament. We got Michigan, 11 seeds still left in the tournament. Iowa State, 10 seed left in the tournament. And then Miami, 11 seeds still left in the tournament. Do you think any of these seeds make the Final Four? Leave your answer in the comment section. That's about for question this week. That's about for Squared Sports with Land Frank, episode 72. Thank you for tuning in. Follow Squared Sports on Instagram at Squared Sports. Follow Squared Sports on Twitter at Squared Sport. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review the best sports content. And we'll be back here next week, episode 73. Stay tuned.